So, Trails to Azure. The other one that I need to uh, re-record because I don't feel it was very strong, and I feel like it would be better to re-record anyway because now having completed Cold Steel 4, there we go. I have a bit more context, and I think that helps. Weirdly enough. So, that works. Which is funny because that was kind of the whole point of me wanting to play the Crossbell duology was for context, right? Still not needed, in my opinion. You can still get a good grasp of what's going on without it. But I feel like context helps, right? So, one thing I should mention from last time that I forgot. I didn't talk about the X multipliers because they actually got their start in 0. So I feel like I should have, mentioned that. But I did not. And that is my failure, obviously. Okay. So, where do I begin? Let's start with... So, let's go over some stuff from the gameplay axis, obviously. Let's just jump right in. Actually, no, before that, I actually need to talk about my note right at the top here. My difference between overblown, overhyped, and overrated, because I mentioned that in regards to Neon Genesis Evangelion being guilty of all three last time. And I do. I stand behind that wholeheartedly. Neon Genesis Evangelion fits all three, but I should play college professor and demand that I define my terms. So, let's define my terms. Overblown is the lightest of these. It's basically my 3 stages of overrated. Because I know the context, most people, accuse it of, I don't like this thing, therefore it's overrated. And in essence, yes, that is the context. But I think of it in degrees, right? There's overblown, where, in my opinion, this thing is overblown. It's good, possibly even, even great, but tone it down a little bit, guys. Tone it down. No, it's overblown. Then there's overhyped, where, okay, it's alright. Hey, but Jesus, calm down, guys. You're making it sound like it's the second coming of Christ or something. And then overrated is, what fucking work were you observing? Right? Now, I don't actually encounter that third category all that often, honestly. Usually it's one of the other two that I encounter. Something being overhyped or overblown. Oh, right? Actually, a good example of that is actually the Crossbell duology, which at first I was just like, oh my god, this is all overrated. But then I had time to process. I had time to calm down. This is actually why I instead of just hit record immediately after doing so, like I did, well, I viewed the footage of that original work and of that original, video I recorded, and it sucked because I was too hopped up on emotion at that time. Emotion that was placated because everybody had hyped up Zero and Azure as the second coming of Christ, basically. And I was just like, oh my god, right? Especially Azure. I've heard Azure paraded around as the best of the series. Nothing else even comes close. And I don't see it. But I have definitely softened on the cross-build duology. And lest you think I'm about to say that Azure is crap, I'm saying that frickin' Trails from Zero is crap. Second worst Trails game. Period. Azure, on the other hand, if I'm not mistaken, give me a moment to check because I actually recently set this up. Give me a sec. For context, so far, not counting. Where's my Reverie case? No. Where's Reverie? Right there's Reverie. So, make sure I'm good on camera. So, not including this. This is the only one that's not included in this ranking. Zero is second from the bottom, and Azure is in fourth place so far. Fourth best Trails game. It's up there. You know? Because for me, you know, it's only overshadowed by the true greats of the franchise. And that's impressive. The only thing really holding back Azure, really, and I mean this sincerely, is its gameplay. It suffers the same problem Sky 3 did. Sky 3 would have been an amazing game if its gameplay wasn't so bleh. Which is funny because Cold Steel 4 kind of suffers from a similar problem. Just throw in some really bad presentation to the story and some really obnoxious gameplay elements, and you get that idea. Which is funny because in terms of the gameplay of the series, actually, let me take a look at that list again. Actually, with the exception of Azure, yeah. Just swap Azure and Cole's. Well, actually, what's funny is Cold Steel 3 would actually be in either third or fourth place, depending on what Sky 2's gameplay score was. Give me one moment as I look it up. Plus 23, so it would be tied. Hey, for a bit of perspective, Cold Steel 4 tied with Sky 2 in terms of my thing. The only reason Sky 2 is above Cold Steel 4 is Sky 2 has the better story. By almost twice the number of points. And I feel like that is a similar case here. Which is funny because even with its flawed gameplay, which ended in the net negatives, yeah, Azure still beat Cold Steel 4 in terms of score, based solely on the power of its story alone. I want you to think about that for a second. Because, this is perfect that I just saw that Spiritfarer mini nation, whatever you want to call it, where he actually kind of, where he came up with a, the thumbs up, thumbs down system. Story core or story presentation, gameplay core, gameplay presentation. Which is funny because I think what holds it back. Actually, I think what holds back all the Trails games that have gotten negatives in the gameplay has actually not been the core combat. It's been, well, all of the stuff surrounding it. The boss design, the railroading, all of that shit. But I still say this is where this game sings to me on the story axis, because this is a fantastic story. This is a great story in a kind of bad game. But as I've been saying with all of these games, true, that first playthrough may be, and I don't really exactly want to go back to it. New Game Plus is a thing. Now, unfortunately, this game still has the same shitty New Game Plus with the achievements and everything. And that sucks. But I feel like I could actually see myself going through it and actually, doing this game again because of stuff like the Master Quartz, and the X multipliers and all the other improvements to the gameplay over the course of it. The car, which allows us to get around and around Crossbell a lot quicker, which actually, funny enough, is actually one of the problems that plagued Zero, was the lack of being able to get around decently. Palm Party is an actual really cool thing, which actually I think the note for that is over here. But I saw the game in quotation marks note, and I don't have it on here. Huh. But yeah, Palm Party's here, and that's actually a really cool little puzzle game distraction. Actually, really fun, and one of the best parts of Cold Steel 4. No, seriously, I actually adore that they brought it back for Cold Steel 4. Funny enough, I actually had an interesting thing with facing the final opponent in Cold Steel 4's Palm Party. That was kind of fun. I literally had the reaction of, what? Because I was paying attention to my screen, not my opponent's screen, and my opponent's screen kind of was to the point where I used a slight attack move. One of the CP used CP to either attack or to raise your opponent's field or lower yours. Apparently, one of the pot shots was enough to finish the final opponent, and I didn't even see it. My viewer Raxor actually pointed that out. And I was like, oh, Then there's what else do we got? There's the whole escape sequence, which I'll talk about more in the story. That was actually a well-designed dungeon. Holy crap. If you know this game, you know which section I'm referring to. I am, of course, referring to the dungeon that Lloyd has to escape by himself. Well, by himself. But again, I'll get into that more next time. I was starting to feel some burnout when it came to going through this game, but oh yeah, Zeit joins our party a bit later. He's actually well designed as a party member, I'm not gonna lie. The final dungeon is actually kind of cool. And there were some good boss fights in here. I won't lie. Some good quests, some good boss fights, some good mini games. Traversal was better this time around. Yeah. This is this is some good stuff. Although I do still say this is the worst prologue in the entire. Well, let me rephrase that. Third worst prologue in the entire series. Yes, originally I was going to say, oh, if Cold Steel 2's wasn't as bad as it was, because what I was expecting was Azure was going to end up having the worst intro in the series. No. No. You don't know what bad intros are until you have suffered through Cold Steel 2's and Cold Steel 4's. Here's intros. Good lord. I don't like this in Azure's intro, but I will take it 10 times out of 10 over frickin' Cold Steel 2 or Cold Steel 4. Ugh. You know? But otherwise, yeah. I think that's all I want to say on this one. On gameplay wise, some good stuff, some fun ideas, but I think it's time to just get into the story.
Okay, fucking seriously. I didn't give a countdown to the freaking uh spoilers? God, fail past me. Fail. It's so bad that honestly, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it myself. Oh, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, we start by dealing with the aftermath of the D therefore G cult. The SSS are not together because they've gone their separate ways at the end of Zero, so they can spend a month apart because plot. You know, I almost feel like you could eject Zero and then the whole we got to get the band back together thing would just work better. Here, since you basically get the info of what the D therefore G cult is in the backstory section and in the prologue itself as we chase down Ernest. You know, the dude who the dude who tried to murder Mayor McDowell and then joined the D therefore G cult so that he could become a demon and make Ellie his. Look, Ellie might piss me off big time in this game and in Zero, less so in Zero, admittedly. Ellie might piss me off, but even I wouldn't pawn her off because that's just disgusting to me. Oh, by the way, Ernest is a great example of the hypocrisy of the Lloyd is a pervert bullshit. Because Ellie treats Lloyd like shit for supposedly trying to get into her pants. Meanwhile, she tries to forgive the guy who literally has said, I want in your fucking pants and to make you effectively a sex slave. Wake the fuck up, Ellie. I'd be willing to acknowledge my hatred of the Lloyd is a pervert subplot as nothing more than me nitpicking. And I'd be, somebody could say, "Oh, you're nitpicking, Blue Wolf," and and you know what? If Ellie wasn't so quick to forgive Ernest, I'd agree with you. I would call it nitpicking and just be like, "All right, fair. I'm nitpicking. Let's back off a bit." But no, it's the fucking hypocrisy that gets to me. And that's and again, there's also the thing I mentioned last time with Randy. Randy is actually one who will flirt with anything with a pulse. But Randy gets a free pass. That's Randy being zany. But the second Lloyd says, his wonderful day, is it? Is it women look at him like, stop trying to get in our pants. I'm just saying it's a nice day. What the fuck? And that's my problem. There is some good characterization, but some of the elements are just not good, right? This is a series that has good humor, but the problem is that the humor, there are jokes that just do not land, and they play up the whole Lloyd is a pervert thing for a comedy. Same with Rain, and it's not fucking funny either time. Even more so with Rain because that's in the 2010s, where that whole thing stopped being fucking funny. Honey, because false accusations have literally fucked over people's reputations. Big time. But whatever. Oh no, but it's not cancel culture. It's it's responsibility culture. Well, your responsibility culture is being abused. Period. Anyways, but enough talking controversial bullshit. Well, shit. Let's just move on. So we get Kevin and Reese in here. It's funny how the series kind of forgets about Kevin and Reese, but not really. Everybody says that Kevin and Reese are completely forgotten, and yet they literally get an active role here in Azure, and they actually get to appear during the credits of Cold Steel 4. Now, I'm not going to spoil what the context of the credits are of Cold Steel 4, but there's an event that happens during the credits of Cold Steel 4, and Reese and Kevin are invited to that, because of course they are. All I'm going to say is the entire Sky cast is invited to that. Let's move on. And then you can probably guess what the event is from there. Yes, despite that. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's not be like the end of this game and spoil the Cold Steels, shall we? More on that later. Wazzy becomes an actual party member this time, and he's kind of an interesting gameplay shift, so that's cool. Well, as is Noel. Noel is is fantastic from a gameplay perspective. Which is funny because which is funny. I would have went with her as the final bonding event partner if Arisha wasn't around. But I digress. I think that's all I have for this. Okay. Alright, so. That's it. That's all of the thing. And I still was yapping for like a half an hour. But, I mean, elements that I got to talk about, right? So, spoiler.
For fuck's sakes. Really? Oh my god. I am sorry about this, guys. Guys, I don't know what the hell was going on with this video when I recorded it. Like, seriously, I know it was a year ago, but what the hell? Hopefully this is the last interruption I have to make.
Spoilers, 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 spoilers. And yes, I do not count the D therefore G cult being fought in the prologue as spoilers, because it's the prologue. Right? But I guess I should have put it earlier, but whatever. Which is funny, because the D therefore G cult doesn't even become a plot point until Cold Steel 4 again. And even then, it's a minor footnote. playing up the whole, which continues my point of the D therefore G cult was pointless. Hate when gas annoys you. I had a bit of a burp as I was taking a drink. Ever have that? Not a pleasant feeling, especially when you're drinking soda. Ugh. Anyways, so so in the prologue, we actually have a joint op. Effectively, what happens is Ernest is hiding Calvard. Funny enough. And so Calvard kind of cooperates with Crossbell and says, "Okay, yeah, we'll let Arios, we'll let Dudley, we'll let Noel, and we'll let Lloyd, work with this. Two representatives from the police department, one of which being the leader of the special support section, which might as well be a second Bracer Guild. Let's be blunt." A member of the Bracer Guild and a high-ranking member of said Bracer Guild, and an officer in the Crossbell Guardian Force. So, yeah, I'm with it. I am completely with that. Which actually makes sense. And then Reese, of course, is doing undercover work because she's, uh, trying, because Kevin can't exactly operate, work stuff. This is not my job. Can you tell? Anyways, but yeah, no. So the four of them go off and deal with that. Dudley and Arios are split off for no reason. I could make a joke about Lloyd getting lucky, but no, we have to play up the stupid pervert angle because, duh. Whatever. So then we head back to Crossbell with Ernest and arrested. Kevin also shows up and saves Ernest, mostly because Lloyd reaches out to him. I didn't mention it last time, but Gunter was attempted to be redeemed by Lloyd, and it was stupid. And I bitch about this over in the Cold Steel Force streams because they pulled the same thing. Here's the thing. Okay? You can't do that. It's whitewashing. Yes, I am this horrible cult leader who is turning people into demons. And I'm going to be redeemed because forgiveness. At least when comic book superheroes defeat villains and not kill them, the villains still go to jail. Batman still brings the Joker back to Arkham Asylum. Like, he doesn't try to forgive the Joker. In fact, it's quite the opposite, actually. Thank you, Under the Red Hood, for making that crystal clear. Here, right? And for making that crystal clear, right? Right? Not a day goes by that I don't think about subjecting him to every horrid torture he has inflicted on others, and then end him. And of course, the Joker's response to that was, "Aw, you do care, Bats." Batman, of course, continues and answers the question of why. Well, it's easy. Because that's an easy question to answer. It's because it would be too damned easy. All he's ever wanted to do is to end it. But Batman fears that if he ever does that, if he ever snapped the Joker's neck, he'd never come back. Actually, what's funny is he almost does that in one of the comics. And it's Gordon who steps up and says, "No, I won't let you break your code. I won't let you do it. Because that's what makes you human." I won't let you destroy your soul. Well, for one, for the Joker. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't think Batman should kill the Joker. I think society should end the Joker. Right? But that gets into a whole complicated loop. Now, Lloyd is very much trying to be it. Now, Lloyd, this could work, but the thing is that he tries to redeem Gunter, and Gunter is just beyond saving. Once he took an entire jar of the red Gnosis, I didn't even talk about Gnosis, about the Gnosis drug. It's basically an increase in a power increaser, and it can turn you into a demon if you take the red version. We'll get into that later. But yeah, Gunter was beyond saving. But of course, we get through to Ernest. Now, Ernest still goes to jail. And this is one of the reasons why I'm much more okay with it here than I am over in Cold Steel 4. Because over in Cold Steel 4, it was pure whitewashing. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going to elaborate any further. I thought about it and I'm like, no. I'd even edit it out because later, probably, if I did, because yeah, that's spoilers for Cold Steel 4, and like I said, let's not be like the ending of this game. Again, we'll get there. But yeah. So Kevin shows up, he's awesome. Reese, he comes into Crossbell, and Ellie apparently knows her. That's interesting. She has connections to two distinct Trails teams. That's not bad. So yeah, as I said, Noel and Wazi join the party. We meet back up with Kia, Ellie, and Sergey after we get back after Lloyd gets back from the trip, which ends the prologue. Okay, cool. We get reintroduced to Grace, Ace, and Sao. Okay, English version of Trails. Can you pick a fucking pronunciation for Sao? Oh, and stick with it, please. Thank you. Then Randy comes back and is awesome. Awesome. Then Wazzy deals with Wald. Beats him down, leaves him crying out in anguish because Wald apparently has to have his character reset. You know, I almost feel like you could write a yaoi slash fic where Wald joins up with Wazzy and the SSS and helps them with their work. And that would actually make way more sense than what happens with frickin' Wazzy and Wald later. But I digress. So then we're reintroduced to Dieter and Maria Bell. So that's cool. Then the Meister, or George, or Georg. I'm imagining the pronunciation is supposed to be Georg, but I'll call him George just for the distinction because I don't want to call him Georg because that's something a character later is going to be called. So I'm going to call this one George, or Meister George. I guess I could call him Rosenberg. Yeah, we'll call him Rosenberg, I guess. So Rosenberg meets with Campanella of all characters. And then we find out that the Red Constellation has moved into the Ravache building. Ravache at this point has been basically destroyed. Right, and they're all in jail. And the Red Constellation shows up. A Jaeger Corps. Supported by Lecter. And this is when the first bombshell of Azure is dropped. The first real bombshell. The leader of the Red Constellation, the current leader of the Red Constellation Jaeger Corps, is Zygmunt Orlando. Randy's uncle. End of chapter 1. That is a powerful scene, by the way. I was like, oh shit. That easily got a plus. I was like, holy shit, yes. So then Orcus Tower is and we start learning about Orcus Tower and the West Shimmeria Trade Conference. Oh, and it's at this point we can go and meet my favorite character in the whole Trail series if you go to the police academy. Because Yuna's there, and you can actually go talk to her. Now, she didn't get any pluses here in Azure, but that's only because she's a background character. She isn't able to do anything, but oh man, that would be just so weird and awesome. Awesome, and hell, I would have given Yuna an external continuity plus to gameplay in Cold Steel 3 if she had been playable here. And I mean that sincerely, I would have done it. But no, she's still in training, so we can't have her join the team. Okay, fair. Uh, also we got the car in chapter 1, so then Yin shows up. Or no, that's actually Zin. Right, the kid from Heiaway. Not much to really say about him. Whatever. There's my note about the shitty running gag. And then this is brilliant. This is brilliant right here. Sigmund Shirley comes to the SSS building, and she's waiting for us in the thing. Now, Randy isn't around when we first encounter Shirley, and she molests Ellie. Oh, gee, Ellie, oh, hey, Ellie, there you go. You've literally had a demonstration of what a real pervert looks like. Are you going to back off of Lloyd now? No? No, you're going to keep up with the stupid gag? Fuck you, then. Anyways. But anyways, Shirley comes by and basically says, hey, Dolphy, Daddy wants to talk to you. Who? Let's go. And I like that Lloyd is very smart, very quick on his feet. Lloyd got a triple positive when on the review because of this very thing. When Shirley shows up and says, Dolphy, Daddy wants to talk to you, what does Lloyd do? I'm going with you. Brandy even looks at him like, dude, no. And Lloyd's just like, no. I'm going with you. Wazzy also backs us up, which is funny because I think Wazzy could do some actual serious damage and get us out of there. But, Lloyd has a good point. This is a golden opportunity. Let's go get some information on the Red Constellation. Now, Randy is freaking the fuck out because Lloyd does not know how dangerous Sigmund is. And he doesn't. Let's be blunt. Lloyd has no idea how dangerous Sigmund is. He knows Sigmund is dangerous. Just his presence alone told Lloyd that. Because Lloyd is very observant. But Lloyd is also right. Opportunity has come knocking in the form of a sapphic walking ball of molestation there, or namely Shirley, of death and molestation, in the form of Shirley. Let's capitalize on this. And I like that Sigmund catches on to that. Every one of Lloyd's questions, no comment. And no comment. And for the third time, no comment. And it's so good. It's so good because Sigmund is just kind of, is it even? I believe that's called being nonplussed, right? Lloyd is trying to get in there, and Sigmund recognizes it, but Sigmund isn't worried in the slightest. He's just like, yep, you're good, but I'm better. Right? He's got that confidence to him. And that's what makes Sigmund so damn deadly. He's dangerous because of his very presence. Great stuff. So this is then when Sigmund reveals the whole reason Randy's there, because he's to become the next war god. Randy feels guilty about keeping that, but everybody's like, nah, don't worry about it. And this is when we start getting some external continuity as we get a scene, we cut to a scene with Oliver and Mueller, and that seems good. And of course, Chloe, one with Chloe. One thing I find funny, though, is speaking of Oliver, is one thing I forgot to mention with the meeting with Sigmund scene. The whole time they're talking with Sigmund, Shirley is just sitting there eating a parfait, just nom 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 nom, and then she asks for another one. And this is all while Sigmund is sitting there being intimidating. He's sitting there like, yep, yep, I'm dangerous, I'm deadly. And Shirley's just, nom 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 nom. And you can feel the tension in the air. Meanwhile, Shirley's just sitting there eating a parfait. And yet that is still a tense as fuck scene. And the best part is Shirley's on screen the whole time eating that parfait. Hey, Shirley is not just like in a corner of the screen, right? You have 1/3. So over here. So you've got, or no, over here. So over here, you're on this side of the screen. You've got Lloyd, Randy, and Wazzy. Then you've got Sigmund right in the middle, and then on this side, you've just got Shirley sitting there eating a parfait, fully on screen. For all three sections of the screen, and it is very interesting. This is a process. This is a something I call Devil May Cry effect. Now, this is not something I will ever give a negative for. Okay. Well, I shouldn't say never because then I'll find something where it's like the where the silliness is completely out of fucking place. But I have not encountered anything that gets this wrong. Now, I won't give it as a negative lightly because it has to really be jarring for it to be a negative. Devil May Cry effect is a good how the work mixes silly with serious. And this scene with Sigmund is a perfect example of that. Sigmund is terrifying. Shirley is hilarious, and she's not out of place being hilarious in the scene with Sigmund being terrifying. And that's the trick. This is why I'm confident why I have never given a negative for Devil May Cry effect. Because just because you kind of fail at it, no, you have to badly fail at it because otherwise I'm just being a dick at that point. Because Devil May Cry effect is damn hard to pull off. The lore runner once called it the Tennant effect, named after David Tennant, specifically for his role as the 10th Doctor over in Doctor Who. I name it for Devil May Cry because Devil May Cry. you know? Oh. Is losing one's humanity the price to pay for power? Do your homework first. And the rest is silence. That's Devil May Cry effect right there. What I just did was do three line excerpts. One from a cutscene right before a boss fight, and then two from after it. Go look up the scene with. Go up. I forget the freaking name. It's in Devil May Cry 4, and it is so glorious. It's when he's fighting the scientist dude, and I'm probably just gonna Future Alex is probably just gonna put a clip of it right up there. Just the serious, and then like the silly. Well, or excuse me, the silly is first. So the silly, and then the serious, because that is the perfect way to describe how this scene goes. Hell, I might even put a clip from the stream in here because I've actually been thinking about doing that, putting some clips from the stream to kind of supplement and complement what I'm talking about here. You know, I can see why lore prefers the lore run format to the rumination format, even though they're both kind of dead. I say kind of because they've been kind of ruminations have been kind of resurrected, and uh, as have lore runs. Really, they're just lowercase lore runs, and lowercase l lore runs. So then the Orcus Tower is unveiled, and it's all cool and dramatic. And Kilika is back, of course. Then the SSS goes and meets with Chloe and finds out about the unrest in the Empire, which will be explored in Cold Steel 2. Well, 1 and 2. Then Campanella tries to burn us alive, challenging us to Palm Party, and then Tio shows up and saves us from that. This is where we learn the impact. Then we meet up with Chloe again, and we get a hint of the impact of the non-aggression pact from back in Sky 2. This is why I like this, like the interconnectivity of the series, because the non-aggression pact had a huge impact on everything, but it also created just as many problems as it solved, which was the problem. And a lot of those problems are being inflicted on Crossbell. So, yeah. So then we get the trade conference. Some really good stuff. Then there's the terrorist attack, which shows us how deadly Osborn is, since Osborn was the one who hired the Red Constellation, showing his craziness. And then Mayor Croyce, oh yeah, I forgot to mention Dieter became mayor, uh, declares that Crossbell is going to have its independence. Then we head to Michelin Wonderland and for some vacation, and then we deal with some stuff like Campanella and cryptids that start appearing because of the Pleroma grass, which is funny because there's a dude named Erelda who Archbishop Erelda, who basically tells us to piss off and ignore the Pleroma grass. Yeah, I won't lie that future knowledge has probably had a larger hand to play there, because I've played Cold Steel 3 where Pleroma grass causes massive problems, and I mean holy fuck levels of problems. But yeah, you ignoring Pleroma grass is probably the stupidest fucking thing you could have done. An Archbishop. Anyways, so that's when we have the Mishi side quest. Poor Tio during that. We speak with Rosenberg. This is when we gotta get into something that pisses me off, because this is when we learn of a train being derailed, and the culprit is Wald having taken Gnosis, the demon transformation drug, specifically of the red variety. I hate this plot point. Let me be blunt. I still stand behind the fact that this is character assassination for Wald. Just flat out character assassination. They turned Wald into a greedy jackass, and I fucking hate it. I bitch more about it on the stream, so there. We're also introduced to Novartis next, and Aryan Road makes her debut. Again, I played Cold Steel 3 before this, so I knew who Aryan Road was. And I know more about Aryan Road now, and oof, man, is her story complex. Not complicated, not convoluted, just complex. There's layers to it. This is when Risha is revealed to be Yin. There is something I really like. There is one aspect of this that I really like. Yin is unmasked in front of the SSS and Arios and other people, and all of them are like, "So we're keeping our mouths shut about this, right?" Yeah, we're keeping our mouths shut about this. Okay, cool. We're all on the same page. Everybody's keeping our mouths completely shut on this. Cool. Now, you might be tempted to be like, well, because they care about Risha? Well, that, and one other point. There's no benefit to revealing that Risha is Yin. There is only all of the detriments. And I mean that sincerely. All of the detriments if they expose Risha. Arc and Seal comes into question. Arc and Seal's whole thing comes into question. Arc and Seal might reject Risha. That might screw over her dreams. It'll ruin Risha's life. Hey, the only benefit to ruining Risha's life is to be a bunch of assholes. I wrote in my review document that I applauded Azure for literally showing Ruby volumes 7 and 8 how not to do this. Or sorry, how not to fuck this up, excuse me. Ruby 7 and 8 is how you don't do this. Azure is how you do this right. We care about Yin, and keeping the secret actually makes a large degree of sense here. Keeping the secret means Risha doesn't have to be fucked over. The only thing that will happen if we reveal the secret is Risha will be fucked over. We're keeping our goddamn mouths shut. No one questions it. No, everyone agrees. And this isn't even like one of them has to convince the others, like, yes, we need to keep this quiet. No, they all just are like, yeah, no, we're keeping this. We're keeping our mouths shut. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not ruining Risha's life. Are you gonna ruin Risha's life? No, hell no. Oh, Randy? No. What? No. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell, I'm gonna stay away from Risha for a little while, so I'm not tempted to use this to get some poo-tang. Hey, because that would be just fucking disgusting and gross. And Muriel would probably castrate me for it. Muriel's a Guardian Force member that really likes Randy, in case it's not obvious. So yeah, they're all just like, yeah, we're not revealing that. Then we find out the Red Constellation has vanished for reasons they have, for reasons that will become apparent later. So then Randy basically goes and tries to deal with Shirley once and for all. Gets out his berserker rifle. Great moment of Lloyd just being like, what the fuck were you thinking? Obviously, Lloyd puts it a lot better than I just did, but that is basically what he's saying, So then Crossbell's on fire again. Well, I shouldn't say again, because I don't think it was on fire during the finale, but it's under attack again. Then we have... Okay. So then Ilya and Fron appear to die. Now they don't actually die. Ilya just gets injured, and I believe she finally gets back on her feet later, but I could be wrong. On, if anything, it takes until Cold Steel 4 before she's finally back on her feet, because of the return that is talked about there. Then the Saber Viper, then Demon Walt treats the Saber Vipers as food. I've already bitched about the character assassination there. And then after we chase away the Red Constellation, who are doing the attacks, Crossbell starts to rebuild. And Noel departs because she's got to go back to the Guardian Force. This is when shit starts hitting the fan, and Dieter jumps all of the guns. He declares himself president. Hesitant. He makes it. Excuse me. He declares here's the Crossbell is independent. He freezes the assets of the entire continent, saying that he will only backpedal on that when Crossbell's independence is guaranteed, and he then declares himself president while making Arios his secretary of defense type of deal, his right hand man, basically. Yeah, this is gun jumping, being to the highest degree. And then this is when Kia is revealed to be the Septarian of Zero, and we basically reveal that Dieter has gone over the deep end. We got to stop him, and Bell's also done so, and Noel is also with the newly formed Crossbell Defense Force. With different context, this would actually be kind of interesting. This would actually be a kind of an interesting shakeup to kind of move Crossbell towards its independence. The problem is Dieter jumped all of the guns, like I said, right? Any one of the moves, the asset freeze, the restructuring of the Crossbell Guardian Force, or into the Crossbell Defense Force, and the Declaration of Independence. Any one of those moves would put pressure. It would have issues. But all of them is just like, whoa, you are asking for everything to fall apart. Especially considering you basically jail the SSS. Yeah, with Noel having turned against us. So Lloyd is thrown in jail, and has to escape thanks to Garcia. Yeah, good. That whole sequence. That's what I alluded to. The dungeon escape, that Lloyd has to do by himself. And then I said by himself. Yeah, he's with Garcia that entire time. That's awesome. I love that. Then we find out Zeit's a divine wolf. I love when Lloyd is saved by Zeit in his divine wolf form, where he's just like, okay, not gonna ask about the wolf form. I'm just gonna be like, how is your timing so good, Zeit? that that is so good. That is so good. So then we learn about Demiurgus and the original Septarian Mirage and what happened and all that stuff. Big info dump from Zeit. All good stuff. This is when Wazi is revealed to be Grossritter. I didn't see that coming. Legit. I didn't see that coming. I was like, oh. 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 Okay, that actually made sense. It wasn't but I wasn't looking at the game like, the fuck? I was more like, oh. Huh. Okay, cool. Then Lloyd just. Then Lloyd, he shows he's a protective dad. Now, this isn't like with Reen's sister complex, where he's overprotective of Elise. No, this is Lloyd saying, "Look, I know the Grawl Shredder. I know the church has this whole thing of no artifacts, X, and no powers that can wreck humanity and all that shit. But if you come after Kia, I will fight you. I don't care. I will fight you." And Wazi's actually taken aback, like, huh. Well, good thing we're not actually after Kia. We want to see how this ends first. Then we'll decide on what happens with Kia. It's actually kind of funny because I do think Lloyd would do that, would protect Kia like that. Now, let me be crystal clear. Lloyd would get his ass handed to him by the Grawl Shredder. I'm sorry, he would get his ass kicked by the Grawl Shredder. But that's bravery. That's badassery. He knows he'll get curb stomped. He doesn't care. Because he will protect Kia, damn it. So then Zeit, this is also when we can learn that Zeit has a loophole. He is the guardian of the Septarian of Mirage, not the Septarian of Zero. That's a nice touch. Good on you, Zeit. Good loophole. Then we learn about Wazi's stigma, so that's cool. Cool. Fran joins up with us so we can to help convince Noel that she's on the wrong team. Tio rejoins us. Ilya has an encouraging message to give to Risha so Risha can be on board. And I love that whole scene where we deliver the message. Risha's like, we basically go to Risha and we are like, yeah, Ilya has a message. Live for yourself. And this whole thing of, what is it you truly want, Risha? And Risha says, of course what I want is to perform an Arc and Seal. That is what I want. That is what I've always wanted. And I love that Sao is just sitting there. And he starts laughing. Sao laughs. And Lloyd is just kind of looking at him like, what's so funny? Honey, figured you'd be pissed at this. And Sao is just like, oh, make no mistake, Lloyd Bannings. I am absolutely livid. But I will hand Ilya the victory this time and move on with my life. Good stuff. So then we get Risha on board. Randy rejoins us. We go and raid Michelin to get Ellie back. That's an annoying shit. Zeit kind of departs at this point. Right. We go and we have Speaker McDowell make his declaration. Fighting Campanella is a pain in the ass. This is where I was starting to kind of feel the burnout of this game, admittedly. Then we go get irritated by the stall ridders in their boss fights. Ugh. Then we get into the final bonding events. I love Risha's because it's the tale of her past, and that just fits for me. I feel it's good stuff. Randy's is, of course, all about his past. Wazi's is about his past. Tio's final bonding event is about how close she's coming to Lloyd, which is I have issues with that one, but it's fine. Ellie's is the one that surprised me because Ellie, for the first time ever, I felt like there was an actual romantic connection between Ellie and Lloyd, which kind of says something to how poorly handled I feel the romance between Ellie and Lloyd has been handled. My opinion. So then we have some optional scenes. Wazzy and Arelda, Risha and Arkanseel. Good stuff. Then we learn about Guy's Tonfa and that is Arios basically saying, "Yeah, I killed your brother." Yeah, I like how everyone calls bullshit on that because of one of the finer details we learned earlier in the game, and even I was saying, "No, no, I call bull," because it was the cause of death was gunshot from the back. Remember that. Well, I guess you don't really need to remember that because, yeah. Um. So then we go and get the Eidolon gear, which makes which is power up for Tio, which is awesome. And then and Potter Mater Header dies. Ugh, that scene hit. I haven't mentioned Estelle, Joshua, Ren, and Kevin all helping us out with the ions that destroy, one of which destroys Gorelia Fortress. I haven't even mentioned those because I'm just like, yeah, makes sense. But yeah, um, yeah, this is also where we call Dieter out on his bull. We get up to Dieter, we call him out on his bull crap. Grimwood is revealed to be the true mastermind. And then the Azure Tree shows up, and we go and we deal with its domains. Sorry about that. Whoops. I just needed to review what I meant by this note here. Surely having a point. And that is, she's looking at Risha, not, uh, not Yin. Because she sees the person, not the mask. So, yeah, that's cool. We also deal with Demon Walt here. Yada yada yada. Cool. Whatever. Then we go and we deal with Zygmunt, who tries one more time to get Randy to become the next War God, which I haven't really been mentioning up to this point. That's been Zygmunt's whole shtick. Become the War God, Randolph. Become the War God, Randolph. He's like a broken record with it. And my note just sums it up. Give it up, Zygmunt. Randy is no War God. And that is the point. Randy, at his core, is not a Jaeger. He just didn't have anything else he could do. He just didn't realize it until later. So yeah. Then we get up to Bell and Grimwood and learn the true purpose of the Zero Azure project, which is to reshape the world. Reshaped by Bell and Grimwood's whims. Yeah. So then Kia tries to commit suicide after we deal with her form when she goes out of control, and Lloyd and Guy reunite. Hey, sort of. Hey, which I actually, or no, I've got these out of order. Excuse me. Uh, yeah, because the world of Zero, all that shit. It, uh, droid effect with Kia, all that's good stuff. The reunion between Lloyd and Guy, that's cool. There is one last thing I need to bitch about Ellie. Trying to appeal to Belle on a moral level. This was the last straw that basically made me go, fuck off, Ellie, and just started giving her negatives because I was like, no, I'm fucking done with this. she hadn't crossed the line at that point, which is kind of impressive when you consider I don't hold back on other characters. Cough, cough, Claire. Cough, cough. But regardless, yeah. So Belle's plans are foiled. So she goes to become an Anguis, and then we have one of the most spoilerific frickin' endings to a Trails game ever, in the form of the ending. Oh God, I hate how all over the place I am with this game. But that's Azure for you. Ugh. Azure is a good story. Make no mistake. It's got some issues. It's got plenty of issues. But it's also got a lot of heart and a lot of great stuff too. I'm late for my stream, so I'm gonna go stream Azure, or not Azure, sorry. Yes, I'm gonna stream Azure again. No, I'm gonna go stream Trails into Reverie, and I will see you next time for the next video. Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers signing out. Have a good one.